When that dark, ominous hood was finally pulled back in the dimly lit, shadowy confines of Joey Armstrong's casino basement, the collective gasp from the fandom could probably be heard all the way in Genoa City. There she stood, Heather Armstrong, Joey's own flesh and blood, boldly claiming to be the ruthless mastermind behind the international black market plasma ring. She stood there with a smug smile, offering her brother a golden ticket to rule the underworld together. But if you think for one single second that this is the whole truth, you are falling for the oldest trick in the soap opera playbook. Do you really believe Heather is the true Impaler? Do you honestly believe she just packed her bags and flew back to London after Joey politely declined her offer? Not a chance. And the best part? Joey doesn't believe it either. Let me break down exactly why this entire sibling reunion is nothing but a masterfully orchestrated illusion and why the real monster is still lurking in the shadows. Are you ready for the truth? Joey Armstrong is a man who makes his living reading bluffs. He sits across from high rollers, desperate gamblers, and dangerous criminals every single day in his casino. His survival in the treacherous underworld of Fairmont Crest relies entirely on his razor-sharp instincts. When he looked at his sister, he didn't see a criminal mastermind. He saw a pawn. He saw a woman reciting rehearsed lines. Joey is deeply suspicious of Heather's sudden, highly convenient appearance in his territory. Why now? Why step out of the shadows just as the police, specifically a highly motivated Jacob Hawthorne, are breathing down the neck of the plasma ring? Joey's sharp eye caught the inconsistencies immediately. He knows his sister, and he knows she doesn't have the cold, calculated genius required to run an operation of this magnitude without leaving a trace. This deep-seated skepticism is exactly why Joey changed his mind. Initially, Joey was open to a partnership with the mysterious Impaler because he respects power. But the moment he realized the person demanding a partnership was his estranged sister, the deal was off. Why would he tie his lucrative, carefully managed empire to a woman he doesn't even trust? You might be wondering why I keep referring to Heather and the Impaler as two entirely separate entities, even though Heather explicitly claimed the title. It is because Joey is doing the exact same thing in his own mind. Joey knows that Heather is merely the face of the operation, a highly effective right-hand woman, a trusted lieutenant, but absolutely not the top boss. He is keeping his guard up, playing along with her little charade while secretly buying himself the time he desperately needs. Joey needs time to investigate Heather's true motives, her hidden connections, and most importantly, the identity of the real Impaler who is pulling her strings from behind the curtain. He is navigating a deadly minefield, pretending to take her at face value while secretly plotting his next move. Will his deception keep him safe, or is he underestimating the danger standing right in his living room? Let us talk about the massive, suffocating deficit of trust between these two siblings. Joey and Heather are playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse, smiling to each other's faces while hiding their darkest, most damning secrets. Joey has not breathed a single word to Heather about his own lethal machinations. He has completely hidden the fact that he is the man responsible for the murder of Doug McBride. He looked Doug in the eye, ended his life, and then walked right into the arms of Doug's grieving widow, Vanessa. When Heather casually noticed the photograph of Vanessa in Joey's house and teasingly referred to her as the blonde, the irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. Heather has absolutely no idea that the beautiful blonde her brother is fiercely protecting is the wife of a man Joey eliminated. Joey warned Heather that Vanessa is completely off limits, but how long can he keep his two worlds from violently colliding? This brings us to the most explosive, jaw-dropping theory that has been keeping me awake at night, a theory that changes the entire landscape of Beyond the Gates. What if Doug McBride never actually died? What if the man Joey thought he permanently erased from the board managed to survive, crawling out of the wreckage with a heart full of pure, unadulterated vengeance? I firmly believe that Doug is not only alive, but he is the real ultimate leader of the plasma ring. Doug McBride is the true Impaler. Think about the sheer poetry of this revenge plot. Doug wouldn't just want to walk up to Joey and put a bullet in his chest. That is far too easy, far too merciful for a man who stole his life and his wife. Doug wants to dismantle Joey's entire world, piece by piece, and what better way to do that than to use Joey's own sister as his primary weapon? If Doug is indeed the master manipulator pulling the strings of the international plasma ring, his motive is crystal clear. He wants to force Joey into a corner, trap him in a massive criminal conspiracy, and then watch him burn. By recruiting Heather, manipulating her, and placing her directly in Joey's path, Doug is executing a psychological warfare campaign of epic proportions. He is using Joey's own blood against him. Doug knows that Joey's protective instincts mixed with his inherent paranoia will drive him insane. But utilizing the sister of your worst enemy as your personal attack dog is the ultimate double-edged sword. It is a brilliant strategy, but it is incredibly fragile. What happens when the truth inevitably comes to light? Imagine the catastrophic fallout if Heather discovers the truth about her mysterious boss. Right now, she is fiercely loyal to the plasma ring, blindly following orders to recruit her brother. But what if she finds out that the man giving her those orders is Doug McBride, a man who harbors a lethal vendetta against her own brother? Even worse, what if Heather discovers that Joey tried to kill Doug in the first place? The emotional whiplash would be staggering. Doug is playing with fire by keeping Heather in the dark. If Heather realizes she is being used as a disposable pawn in a deeply personal revenge scheme, she might instantly flip her allegiance. She could turn all of the plasma ring's resources against Doug to protect her brother. Will Doug's arrogant desire for poetic justice be the very thing that causes his entire criminal empire to crumble to the ground? Let us look at the cold, hard facts behind the scenes that support this wild theory. We all know the golden rule of daytime television. If there is no body, there is no death. And even if there is a body, sometimes it is just a highly realistic silicone mask. But beyond the classic soap opera tropes, there is a massive clue staring us right in the face. The name of the actor playing Doug McBride is still actively listed on the cast roster despite the character supposedly being deceased. Why would the network keep him on contract if his story was truly over? This leaves us with two incredibly tantalizing possibilities. The first is that Doug is alive, breathing, and actively running the black market from the shadows. The second is that Doug will soon appear in a series of vivid, terrifying hallucinations experienced by his daughter, Deanna. We already know Deanna had a cryptic, imaginary conversation with her father where he urged her to embark on a mission. What if those weren't just the grief-stricken delusions of a traumatized daughter? What if Doug is actually contacting her, using her fragile mental state to recruit her into his war against Joey? As the pieces of this puzzle slowly fall into place, Joey's secret investigation is going to become the focal point of the show. Joey is not the kind of man to sit back and wait to be attacked. He is actively digging into David Azarian, the trafficker, trying to follow the money and the blood back to the true source. I predict that Joey's relentless digging will soon yield the exact answer he suspected all along. Heather is not the Impaler. She is merely a foot soldier, taking orders from a man who operates entirely in the shadows. When Joey finally uncovers the truth, he will realize that the real Impaler is a master of psychological manipulation, a man who can bend a strong-willed woman like Heather to his every command. This revelation will prove that Joey's instinct to reject Heather's partnership offer was not just smart, it was the only thing that kept him alive. If he had signed on the dotted line, he would have walked directly into Doug's lethal trap. And let us finally address the massive elephant in the room, Heather's supposed departure. Do you honestly, truly believe that she packed her designer bags, hailed a cab to the airport, and flew back to London just because Joey said no? In the world of Beyond the Gates, nobody gives up that easily. Heather did not leave Fairmont Crest. She is still here, lurking in the shadows, watching Joey's every move. She is intentionally staying close to apply continuous suffocating pressure on her brother. Her goal is to slowly corner him, cutting off his legitimate business avenues until he has absolutely no choice but to join the black market plasma ring. She is a predator waiting for her prey to show a moment of weakness. But the lingering question remains. Is Heather doing this because she genuinely believes in the criminal enterprise? Or is she simply terrified of failing the real Impaler? The tension is building to an absolute boiling point, and the impending explosion is going to leave casualties scattered all over Fairmont Crest. Vanessa is currently living in a state of blissful ignorance, completely unaware that her new lover murdered her old husband and that her old husband might be coming back from the grave to destroy them all. Jacob Hawthorne is tearing the city apart trying to avenge Derek's death, completely unaware that the plasma ring conspiracy is tied directly to the man dating his mother-in-law's best friend. Every single character is standing on a landmine, and Doug McBride is holding the detonator. When Joey finally confronts Heather with the truth about Doug, and when Vanessa finally learns the truth about Joey, the emotional devastation will be unparalleled. Will Joey be able to outsmart a ghost? Will Heather turn on her master, or will she sacrifice her brother for power? The next few episodes are guaranteed to be pure, unadulterated chaos, and I absolutely cannot wait to watch it all burn down.